Welcome to the Savvy Podcast with me, Helen, and my amazing guests. Every week, we'll be bringing you experienced pet pros and specialist experts covering all aspects of the pet industry. Brought to you by Savvy Pet Spa, the global booking software for pet professionals everywhere. Now let's get this podcast popping. Hello everybody, good day to you, my professional pet peeps. We are back again for another one of Savvy's wonderful new pet spa podcast. Nearly couldn't get my teeth around that. You know, and I know that Savvy is the UK's leading software. It is, and I know that because I used it in my own salons for many, many years and absolutely loved it. And it's global. Anybody can have Savvy Pet Spa now, so go at it, go research it and get yourself signed up because it's important. Try a free trial. But most importantly, let me not just plug Savvy. I'm going to plug this lady because I have literally only just met her. I already love her. She's going to be on my best friend list forever. I am going to have a very long, detailed chat with Anjie Coates. Now, for those of you who don't know her, rush off to your devices. I always say this. Do some research. She's amazing. And it's Coates, Coates, just by the way. But let me tell you about her before I get her to say hello and welcome her. It's long. Bear with me. I'm going to read this because I wrote this down earlier. Okay, so bear with me, guys. Okay, so let me tell you a little bit about her, right? She is 30 years plus in the industry. She's a co-owner of Furry Tales Grooming Salon and Spa, which that in itself is a full-time job. She can groom anything that's fluffy within an inch of its life and probably then some. And I mean anything that's fluffy. If it's got 4 legs or 2 legs, I don't care. She probably grooms crocodiles. I don't know in her sleep. But she's amazing. Anjie has it's true, she's laughing, but it's true. She's certified master rabbit master. I don't know whether to say rabbit master groomer or master rabbit groomer. I think it's master
rabbit groomer.
There you go. She's certified canine esthetician. She's a master holistic feline stylist. She's got an accreditation from professional groomers. She's an author. We'll touch on that in a bit. I have seen the book. It's beautiful. Let me see. Trust me, it's lovely. So she's an author, pet first aider. She teaches pet first aid as well. And she's a general all-round Wonder Woman, really. I mean that. She genuinely is. But she's done something for our industry, which I don't believe anybody else has done. So I'm going to touch on that. And she's done a lot. And she's done a course for anybody that is working with people that are neurodivergent and neurotypical, because it takes all of us to go around. So neurodivergence, and there's a little course that you just say little, it's an amazing course that she does on that. And that's close to my heart. So without further ado, Anjie Coates, welcome to our podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, Christ, it's an absolute pleasure. Tell us a little bit about you and how you got, I've been told, I don't know the story, so I'm excited to hear it. But tell us how you got into this profession, please.
Okay, so I was going pre-med. Mm-hmm. My goal was actually to go into neurosurgery because I've always been fascinated with the brain. Mm-hmm. I think it's amazing what a human being can do.
Absolutely.
And I wanted to help people. Mm-hmm. So I thought this would be fantastic. And I had a mentor. I was all ready to go. This was my path. I was so sure. And I was working after school. Mm-hmm. And
what age was this? What age were you here?
I was 17. So I was a bit ahead of the curve.
Yeah.
And so I was already like eyeball deep in this. And I was working in the kitchen and I was wheeling the cart onto the back dock. And I tipped the cart to dump the trash so the garbage men could come pick it up. And one of the bags fell off the back dock. So I jumped down to pick the bag up because you can't leave it there. And so I threw it back up on the dock. And you know the feeling you get when there's something behind you? So I was wearing the big earmuffs that we wear when we use the high velocity dryers.
Yeah.
And I turned around and the garbage truck, I was in their blind spot and he backed into me.
Ouch.
Well, it took my right arm off.
Oh my God.
And I went under the truck and
they still don't know you're there at this point. They have no idea you're there.
No. And so I crawled out from under the truck and my right hand was behind my back, facing front. So it had
come on.
Yeah. And I'm wearing a white uniform.
Nice.
And I came out from under the truck and the man was yelling at me. But he was yelling at me in Portuguese, which I do not speak Portuguese. And I said that, no, I'm fine. It's fine. And I said, I'm not even going to say anything about it. It's no big deal. So I went inside. It was 2:15. And I was like, oh, cool. It's break time. So I went over and I got myself a fruit juice.
Proving how amazing the brain is. This absolutely shows how amazing the brain is.
Right. So I walk over to the table and I put my fruit juice down. And my supervisor came out and she's screaming, Anjie, oh my God, Anjie. And I'm like, why are you yelling at me? It's 2:50. It's break. What? And she's like, Anjie. And I'm like, what? And she points at me. And I looked down and my white uniform was completely red.
Crimson.
Oh, and I said, that's blood. That's my blood. And I just out on the floor. I woke up on the 4th floor of the hospital. And then I died. I was dead for 2.5 minutes. And so weirdly, the neurosurgery career was over because for the next 5 years, I couldn't feel my fingers. And they don't like you picking around in people's brains when you can't feel your fingers.
Yes. It's a risk assessment thing. It's a risk assessment.
I don't
do that here in the UK. You're okay.
So, 20 surgeries later, and I have half range of motion with my right arm.
You have feeling in your fingers now?
Like maybe half what I have in my left. So
I have to ask, because this is my brain now working. Were you left-handed or right-handed at the time? And did you have to check?
I've always been ambidextrous because I was born left-handed.
Yep.
I went to Catholic school.
Oh, yeah. You will use your right hand under pain of death.
Yes. And after you
did the age group thing, a lot of people won't understand that. Our younger viewers won't understand that. They won't understand that.
They used to be allowed to beat you in class. And
that's my goal. Yeah.
Sister Irene was very thorough in the fact that I would use my right hand to write. So I had to learn how to do that.
Well, that's fortunate, really, in one way. So we actually did you a favor. So, out of darkness always comes light. That's what I would say.
Yeah. So now I scissor everything that is above the middle of my chest with my left hand.
Yep.
And everything below it with my right.
Okay, next question then, 'cause I have to ask this. Even though this is not on my list of questions, I'm going rogue here, guys. I'm sorry. Can you do both at the same time?
Yes.
Oh, I love you. I've got to come see a groom. That's amazing. I can slicker with 2 at the same time, but I can't scissor with 2 at the same time. So
what you have to do is, for anyone that wants to try this, don't try to close the scissors at the same time. Do them in a staccato. So it's like clip left, clip right, clip left, clip right, and your body will get used to it.
It's rhythmic, isn't it? So, yeah. Such a story. That's the best opening story so far.
It's an offset, and you can do it. It just takes a little practice, and you can do it. You'll be like, I can do this, and it works.
So you didn't choose this career. You kind of just fell into it just out of a circumstance, really.
Right. Because I needed a job.
Yeah.
Because I had to pay for an apartment and food and live.
Yeah.
And
I told you guys she was Wonder Woman. See, you didn't listen to me. Now you believe me. I'm going to ask you the next question, because this is something that's really, really close to my heart, because we had this conversation before. So I've not met Anjie before. This is literally the first time we've connected. So I feel in our industry there's something is very, very overlooked, and I'm going to hit on it. And I can say this from personal experience. Can you tell us why you think neurodiverse people are better or can be better in an environment? Because I know you've written your course on, it's created for employers course to be able to work with neurodivergent and neurotypical employers. So this is employees. So what obviously I know because I've had this conversation with you, but explain to our viewers, listeners, however you're going to see this, guys, explain why that came about, how that came about. And it's amazing, by the way. 110%. Love it.
Okay. So I, for whatever reason, have always had neurodivergent employees. I have ADHD.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's like
an attraction.
where we just mesh. Yeah.
It's an attraction.
So, and we fill each other's gaps.
Oh.
And so Anjie, my assistant, yes, her name is also Anjie, mine with a J, hers with a G.
Yep.
We worked together for 24 years, salon to salon to salon to salon. And she has dyslexia and dysgraphia.
Mm.
And so she has amazing spatial relations. Like, wow. Okay, so when I opened my salon, I wanted to set up the room, and I had measured it out, and I'm measuring all the furniture and, you know, like the toolkits and the tables and the dryer, like all the things. And so I'm trying to put everything in place, but it doesn't really fit. And so she comes over and she says, well, why don't you just do this? And I was like, I don't know if that's going to fit.
Oh.
And she's like, no, it will.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay. So I did that and it fit like beautifully.
Like
and I'm like, you're with me.
Mm.
How does this go? And she's like, okay, so that goes there and this goes here and that goes there and this goes here. And like that.
Mm.
In minor moments, what took me like an hour and a half.
That's it's a superpower.
It is. She just like boop, 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 and all the things go into place and she can see it in her head in like a perfect design. And I'm like, that's amazing.
And that's an asset to her business because if she is able to have that spatial awareness, even down to her grooming, that's going to be able to be, that's a transitional skill into so many, multifaceted.
Well, she never in 24 years, she did not want to groom.
Mm.
So she never picked up a pair of clippers or a pair of shears. And I'm fine with that because she could this woman could comb the most aggressive, feral cat on the planet and just be like, okay, you're my new best friend. And the cat's like, I'm your new best friend and I love you forever.
Don't imagine me.
Yeah. And I would groom the cat and occasionally the cat would be like, what are you still doing here? And I'm like, and she'd be like, no, just pay attention to me. And the cat would be like, oh, okay, because I love you and you're wonderful. And then we could literally groom anybody.
Yeah.
And I called her the emotional support human because you know, the dogs that have a tough time with like nail trims and things like this, and they just can't.
Yeah.
So I would call her and I'd say, Ange, I need an emotional support human. And she would come and she would massage their face and, you know, like right in between the eyes. Yeah. And so she would massage the stop and they would just go, oh, that's nice. And I would do their nails and everything would be okay and they would be fine. So there was no fighting or argument or, you know, the back and forth. You didn't have to do any of that.
Oh gosh, it's not good. It's not a good way to groom. And I know this is not judgmental on anybody because I've been a single groomer, been a lone groomer, and it's not easy to do it when you're on your own. But, you know, if you can have a support human.
Yes. And they loved their emotional support human. And so it was lovely. And you could get them through the parts that they really didn't like. And then she'd go, okay, I'm going to go make some calls or whatever.
Yeah.
And off she'd go. And the dog was like, I love you. It was great. It was just great.
So you identified that, and then you had other staff, and you started identifying that there was some, colourful interactions going on because of the neurodiversity within the environment. So you put pen to paper. How, it just blows my mind, because I know we touched on this here in the UK. Being neurodivergent is almost seen as an excuse. It's always seen as something that isn't real, because, only boys had ADHD, only boys were autistic, and now we're starting to see people, especially in my own age, I was very late diagnosed, coming through into a system that is not prepared for the volume of people that are literally require support and help. It's sad. So, as far as having that wonderful aid that you've created, this course, when you put it together, what was your aim? What were you wanting to? What was your biggest challenge, and how did you want to present it?
Well, the biggest thing is I wanted people to understand that people who are not neurotypical don't think the same. We think differently, and sometimes we need a bit of help with what other neurotypical people see as mundane. Well, why would I have to do that? Anybody should know that. Well, I understand for you, that is a mundane thing, because you're not thinking about, like I had described earlier, there isn't an epic movie with an orchestra, 28 tabs open in your brain, and you're trying to do all these things. So sometimes we get overwhelmed.
Yep.
And we need very simple cues to remember where we are and what we're supposed to be doing.
Yep.
And it's easy to do. And because like I said, Angie has dyslexia and dysgraphia. So rather than a written list that works for me, that doesn't work for her.
Yeah, same as me. I don't do words. I do pictures.
Her lists were all pictures, because for her that makes sense literally in a moment. She's right. That's all it is just a series of pictures on a piece of paper and laminated, and then she knows where she's supposed to be. And for me, now, this is something I have cleaned my salon for bazillion times. And yet, end of day, from time to time, especially if it's a day where, like, one of my favorites, I found out they passed away, or one of them's in the hospital, something like this.
Then you have an awkward client on top of it.
Right. And I get lost in my order and I can't pick up the thread of it. So all of these lists are around the salon. They're on Velcro. So you can just peel it off and go, where am I?
Yeah. What comes next?
This is where I am.
It is very easy to lose sight of the tasks you've got, because we'll be like, oh, I forgot my keys. You'll go and find your keys. And while you're going to pick your keys up, you've not picked your keys up, but you've found the tea or the coffee didn't drink earlier. Then you're walking around with the tea and the coffee thinking, what did I do next? What was I doing? Oh, hang on a second. I need to go and lock the door. And then the keys, 3 hours later, are still in the same place. And you've forgotten what you're doing.
Yes.
It's just, it's hard. It's hard, But I think as well, I think putting it down and making sure that people have access to that and seeing the benefits of it. Where can our listeners and viewers, where can they access this course? How do they get onto this course? How do they see it?
So it's online. It's on positiveed.com.
Yep.
And if you go to the library and you scroll down and you go to Anjie Coates, and you will see it there. I have my salon sanitation workshop, bathing and prep workshop. the training the neurodiverse employee, personal safety, and customer service and customer relations.
Mm-hmm.
So those are all the ones I have on available.
And are they available to anybody? Can anybody just ask? They've got to join anything. They can just go to positived.com, go onto that and
sign up for that one class. So the training the neurodiverse employee is $47.
That's nothing. It's not even a night out.
Yeah. And well, I tried to make it reasonable because I want people to have the information, but I have to cover the hosting and the whatnot for the program itself.
That sounds
so.
I think I've paid for grooming courses, in person and online, and paid far more and gained far less. So I think it's exceptionally well priced. So anybody that has got a neurodivergent or neurospicy, as I always like to say, employee, or you are an employer that is neurospicy like I was, then go access this, because it is something else. It really is. So tell me now as well, Ben, because obviously we've identified that both myself and Emma is also neurospicy, and we work really diligently within Savvy Pet Spa to ensure that the rest of the team is aware that sometimes what they're producing may not be visually okay for somebody that's neurodiverse. And I've identified by talking, I'm front of house, I do all the sales. So I talk to groomers all over the world all the time. And it's becoming very evident that this is a profession that is very attractive to somebody that is neurodivergent. And I think that's for multiple reasons. But, why do you think that we're overlooked as employees? Why do you think that neurodiverse people are overlooked and dismissed? Have you got a thought process on that?
I do. I think it's not well understood.
100%. Definitely here in the UK.
And what you were talking about in the UK alone, I find terrifying, because we don't think the same as neurotypical people. We just don't. And so because of that, if we don't have the cues, and the other thing is that a lot of new groomers that are neurodivergent, no one's told them to develop a pattern.
100%.
They didn't get that memo. No one told them that, because once you develop your pattern and you do it the same way every single time for the bath and on the drying and on the table, and it's the same order every single time, on every single pet, every single day.
It's important. It really is.
It is, because then it takes away the memory load.
Mm-hmm.
And memory load.
You use muscle memory as well, don't you? Naturally, when you do it anyway when you're just neurotypical. But if you're neurodivergent and you get to it just completely blow you out of the water, you're done. It's like, what do I do? What do I do? And then you have a meltdown.
Yeah.
And yes.
So that way, if you have your pattern, it becomes muscle memory. And even though your brain is doing other stuff, your body knows what to do next, and you're not really.
That's all the dog on the table. That's with the dog on the table. I had this. I'll tell you this really quickly. When I had this, I sold my salons now, but when I had my salons, I had a member of the team back very early days when I first opened, and I didn't know that I was neurodiverse at that point. I didn't know anything about being neurodivergent or autism or anything. And I had my very set way of grooming, to the point that the dogs I work with regularly that only wanted to be groomed by me, owners want them groomed by me, they would always turn to the right, because I would always move them to the right. I would stand in one place and I would move the dog, but I would always go right to present the right side first and then back left. So when I went on holidays, I came back and I didn't realize. I just said, well, you should have turned the dog to the right. And I didn't even realize then that I'd already identified I had a pattern, because the team member that worked for me was saying, well, I couldn't get him to do anything for me. He's a horrible dog. I said, what do you mean? He's a beautiful dog. He's lovely. And when I look back, because I had CCTV, when I look back on a CCTV, she was doing everything differently. And he was like, I am very confused, because I'm not turning right, I am not turning left. And I was like, and I identified that, but I didn't know I was identifying that I had set patterns. But what it did make me realize was that within the grooming environment, owners need to realize that dogs get very used to the person that grooms them regularly. So if that person is off, you need to make sure you've got very detailed notes so that the next person that takes over knows to do it that way for the benefit of the speed of the groom and the comfort of the dog, most importantly. 100%.
Well, that's why in my salon, once you started with the dog, for the rest of that dog's life, that's your dog.
Yep.
Because, like, so most of the dogs I groomed for their entire life. So when they became, say, 15 years old, blind, deaf, they knew it was always going to be front left foot, back right foot, front right foot. And they knew as soon as I put that one foot down, they would lift the next foot because they knew it was next.
Yeah, 100%. So this is very important. And I think even if you're not neurodivergent, even as a neurodiverse groomer, I think having a pattern and set pattern for your dogs and doing things. And I know that things can happen and that, you may have to change something and dog might have an injury, whatever. But if the dog's used to you, it'll be acceptance of it. But if you're grooming a dog on behalf of somebody else, if they're off, maternity leave, etc., try always, I would say, and my advice would be to try and do the same thing, repeat and rinse. So, right, well, we'll go to the next question. So anybody who's listening, they want to access your work. We've already said about the website that you do. So make sure that's at the bottom of this. But I know something else about you which I'm going to share with everybody. Now, I am actually highly allergic to these little critters, rabbits. I can't be near them, make me have massive asthma attacks. I'm really sorry. And I love them as well. But I had a little look at your book today. You've got a book, so tell us about your books. And I know there are 7 beautiful rabbits. When you look first, guys, I challenge you, go and look, there's 7, but it looks like there's only 6. I saw it straight away. Tell us about your book. And how the hell did you get into grooming rabbits?
Okay, so funny story. So the book is called The Quintessential Rabbit Book.
It is indeed.
And I got into grooming rabbits a little over 20 years ago.
Wow.
Because a woman came into the salon I was working at, and she brought in this little itty bitty case and she put it up on the half door and she said, I'd like to make an appointment for my guinea pig.
Right.
And I said, I don't know anything about guinea pigs.
Yeah.
But if you give me a week, I will learn everything there is to know about guinea pigs. So I'll schedule you for next Wednesday. And she said, okay. So I ran home, stopped at the library, took out every book I could find on guinea pigs. Well, the thing is, every book on guinea pigs has a section on guinea pigs, bunnies, and ferrets at the time.
Yeah.
The internet was not.
It wasn't a thing then.
Back then. So there was zero information back then. So I took what they call a composition notebook, and I filled it with all of these books, all of the information. I wrote down everything about guinea pigs. And while I was at it, bunnies and ferrets, because I figured as long as I'm here, I will learn all the things. So the next week I went back and I was ready. And I had parsley in hand, and I'm like, I'm ready to go.
Yep.
Well, she gave me the guinea pig, and his name was Rumble. So I gave him a haircut.
Yeah.
Because he was a long-haired guinea pig.
Yep.
And so got him all.
Oh, I'm frozen. Oh, I think we have frozen. Oh, can you hear me? Sorry, you froze that a bit. There you go. Sorry.
And so I said, well, what do you mean for the yoga class? And she said, oh, well, I teach yoga and he teaches yoga with me.
The guinea pig.
The guinea pig. And I was like, where is this class?
Yeah. And can I come?
Yeah, you can come. Just, it's literally right across the street from the salon. Top floor.
Yeah.
fantastic. What time? So it's like 8:00. Okay, great. So I am ready. I'm there at like 7:45.
Well,
I go in. I do not know how to do yoga. I know nothing about yoga. I've never been to a yoga class. I don't know anything about yoga. And so I go into this class and I didn't even know you needed a yoga mat. Okay. Just like, this is how little I knew about
it's turned up. It's just turned up.
Yeah. But I'm here and I'm in a t-shirt and sweatpants and I'm ready to watch the guinea pig do yoga. And he did mountain pose and downward dog. It was the most amazing thing I'd ever seen in my life. And the whole class, she's going, Anjie. And I'm standing there, jaw dropped, watching the guinea pig do all these things. I'm not doing any yoga at all.
Observing.
Because I'm just like,
Fascinated.
he's beautiful. So I kept going to yoga.
Yeah.
After about the third class, she's like, you can just come and watch. You don't have to, because she figured out that it was too much for me to actually do things and watch Rumble.
Oh, what?
So I would just go and watch Rumble, do yoga. And I insisted on, it was $8 to go to the class, which is like nothing. So I insisted on paying her to sit and watch the guinea pig do yoga. It was the most amazing thing. So there were other people in that class that also had small mammals. So they had guinea pigs, they had bunnies, they had ferrets. And once they realized that I was his
hairdresser.
Yes. And that he just loved, like, because every time I would come in after his probably second or third groom, he would just run over to me squeaking and have to be picked up. And I would love on him. And everybody was like, he doesn't care about any of us. Why does he love you? I tried to pet him and he was like, ew, no.
Oh, no, not you. You're not. Yeah.
But he loved me. So then they all started bringing me their small mammals. And then I got into the bunnies. And then the bunny people tell other bunny people because it's like a...
And then you're over them with rabbits.
And then I'm grooming bunnies like it's going out of style.
Do you think, I know that you do these courses and you've got a list of people, you've got like a bunny index, haven't you? There are people that groom all over the world that have done your courses. Ireland, UK, New Zealand, you are everywhere. Do you think that it's an overlooked revenue for groomers? I do. I think small mammals are overlooked revenue.
So much so. Because first of all, I charge twice what I charge for an equivalent sized dog. For a bunny. Well, so that in itself, and you don't bathe bunnies.
No.
So because you don't have to bathe them, you're removing the bathing and the drying. That's a significant portion of time. Additionally, you're charging twice as much. So you're charging twice as much for a hard time.
Yeah. Yeah. There's no rocket science, is it?
And
it's not something that's done a lot here in the UK. I mean, I groomed 2 bunnies in my entire career, and I've clipped the nails of many guinea pigs. But I could only groom the bunnies that I groomed last my friend, and I was highly allergic, so we don't groom bunnies. But nail trimming of small mammals as well is something that, that people don't realise they could earn a revenue from. And I think they think, because it's small, I can only charge a couple of pounds or a couple of dollars, where absolutely not. It's specialist, do your research. But you still offer the courses, don't you, for grooming?
They're online. They're on Positive Vet. And if you go to my workshops, that's all on there.
I recommend anybody that's watching or listening to go and have a look at the website. I am going to go and look at the website myself. So, I mean, that's amazing. And I think that is a revenue that people should be looking at a lot more. So thank you for sharing that with us. If anybody wanted to get involved with smaller mammals and they didn't have the funds to access your course, Okay, because I know some groomers, they're new, they're struggling. They may not want to do larger dogs because they may have again, like you said, I'm also disabled, so or I like to call it enabled, because I've got plate work in my legs. So some people don't want to work with bigger animals. So if they wanted to go with mammals and they didn't have the funds right now, where would you point them? What would you say? Go. Would you say go to the library? Would you say look online? Where would you point them? What do
That's difficult because the thing about rabbits is, so I get tagged in all the rabbit posts all over Facebook every single day.
Yeah.
In December of last year, people were getting their rabbits cleaned up for Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
6 rabbits were killed that month by groomers.
Their bones are tiny, aren't they, as well? Their bones are absolutely so fragile.
They need very specific information. You can't just guess when it comes to grooming a rabbit.
Okay.
So my first course is $97.
Yep.
It's 4 hours long. If you do nothing else, do that.
Do that. Save up for it, guys. You heard it from somebody that is highly experienced, knows everything there is to know about grooming rabbits, basically, and small, fluffy things. So save up. If you can't afford it, there is nowhere that Anjie would recommend. So save up and do the course, or reach out to her and just say, look, I want to do the course, but I'm going to have to save. So can you please try and keep me a space on whatever course it is in 6 months' time or something? It's not a lot. $97.
Yes, you have permanent access. It's not like you get a window.
That's excellent.
So, because if you groom a rabbit, I say, okay, I'm going to groom a rabbit next month. I need to know all this stuff. And then you don't groom a rabbit for a year and you go, oh, I forgot what she said about, you can still go back.
So you can have a refresher over and over and over. So good.
And there's also a free hour on guinea pigs and ferrets. So it's 5 hours for 97 American.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. I think that's very good. I had a guinea pig once. His name was Colin.
Nice.
He was lovely. He was a boar and he was huge. I didn't think he ever stopped growing until he passed away, bless him. But he lived a long time. 9 years I had him for.
That is a very old guinea pig. Jumbo was 10, so...
He was a grumpy old boy at the end, but yeah, he was, So I think that, there are lots of revenues that groomers can have. And I think an added revenue from grooming small animals professionally with experience is probably a really good way to go. Right. I am going to ask, I always ask the same 2 questions. I ask the question at the top, which is, tell us about how you got into the profession. And I always ask this end question. So I'm sorry, because it's a bit of a left fielder. So I'll always ask everything question. If you were forced to go and live on a desert island for the rest of your life, you can only take with you one pet of your choice with a coat type of your choice. What pet would you choose and why? And secondly, if you could only take one grooming tool and one product, what would you take? That's a hard one, I'm sorry.
Oh, wow.
I know, I'm sorry.
One of my dogs is completely going to feel betrayed.
Oh.
So I would take one of my pugs.
Yep.
And I'm not going to say which because we won't betray the brotherhood. We won't betray them. Yes. So they can each think it's them.
Yeah.
And so a tool, a comb.
Yep.
A fine course.
Yep.
And a product.
Yeah. It can be any product you want, and you can name drop all you want to. I don't mind if you want to name drop.
Yves Saint Bernard traditional pack.
Traditional
pack. PEK.
Yeah. Okay. Why?
It's a humectant conditioner. Okay. I figure if I'm on an island, I'm surrounded by salt water.
Exactly. That's good. Yeah, I like that.
So it's drying.
Yep. So you're not going to get your fuzz.
Yep. And so for me and for the dog,
yeah,
we both need the humectant deep conditioner that will keep our skin nice and our hair looking lovely.
I love it. And what type comb would you take it? I know you said fine comb, but what is there a specific make?
There is, but I don't know. 33 years ago, I bought a comb.
And it's their favorite now.
Yeah, from Frank Rowe. I have had this comb for 33 years. I've dumpster diving for this comb. Because, you sweep off the table.
But where's the comb?
Yeah. And it went in your trash bag, went in the dumpster. Now I'm ripping up the bag in the dumpster. I have gone dumpster diving for that comb so many times. I don't know who made it, but Frank Rowe himself of Frank Rowe and Sons, he's since passed. Mm-hmm. That man told me, this is the best comb. This will last you a career.
Ooh.
And
maybe you send a photograph of the comb and Emma can add it on the end so we can have a look at it.
Okay. I have a picture of it, actually.
I'll send it to Emma. She can put it on there. I also have tools that even though I've retired from grooming, I don't groom at all. I don't even groom my own dog because of my own disability. But I refuse to throw my favourite scissors and comb. I won't gift it to anybody. Not having it. It's mine. I'm very attached to it. It's so weak career, so now I'm keeping it. And it sits pride placed. So, and my husband's like, you need to get rid of that. I was like, no, I don't think so. That's mine. That's mine. Yeah. When I'm gone. So, yeah. But I am going to wrap it up now. I absolutely have thoroughly enjoyed my conversation with you and seeing you. And I cannot wait to come over to the US and meet you properly in person. I think you're just amazing.
That would be lovely. And I go to a bunch of trade shows a year and teaching at a bunch of trade shows every year. So I would love to see you.
We will be at Hershey's next year, definitely. We were going to be at Hershey's this year. I was there last year. We were going to be this year, but unfortunately some things come up and we can't attend now. But we will definitely be at Hershey's next year. So if you're at Hershey's.
I will always be Groom Expo. Groom Expo isn't really a trade show as much as it is an experience.
It's the best place in the world to do networking. That's all I'm going to say.
It is the best place in the world for everything grooming. It's amazing.
And it's hard to get a stand there. Very hard, I know.
Yeah.
No. But we've got a stand and we can't even attend it now. So there you go. It's one of them things. But listen, absolutely love you to bits. It's been a pleasure. And please come on again at another point and we can discuss more about you, your life, and your experiences.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. It has been an absolute pleasure.
Pleasure has been all mine, honestly. Thank you. Bye. Bye, Anjie. Take care. Myself and the team hope you've enjoyed the podcast. And if so, leave us that elusive review via your podcast provider. And if you'd like to know more about Savvy and our booking software, visit us online at savvypetspa.com. Thanks for joining. Catch you next time.